Hello and welcome to News 9. This is In India's Interest and I am Aditya Raj Kaul. Often globally, there was a time when journalistic accounts and investigation led to falling of the government. Are we living in that time anymore? I don't think so. But I have someone with me who did investigation for years together, and that led to not only falling the government, but that case is being discussed even 30 years later. Joining me is Chitra Subramaniam, and here is her journalistic account, Boforsgate, a journalist's pursuit of truth. Thank you very much, Chitra Subramaniam, for joining us. Let me begin by asking you, are you glad that you are alive today and you have been staying in Switzerland and narrating to the people this account? Let me be very honest today. As a journalist who is still a cub journalist in front of you, I must admit that you have been an inspiring figure for a whole lot of journalists here in India and perhaps across the globe. So I want to begin by asking you, as a journalist, are you glad that you are alive today? And if not in Switzerland, if you were in India, what would have happened?
Thank you, Aditya. Thank you very much for that very generous introduction and your very kind words. I still remember the first conversation we had when you were in Kirkuk, or you trying to escape from Iraq, and I was saying, my goodness. Yes, Sten Lindstrom says that, who's my chief source, he says that if I had been in India, something nasty could have happened to me. But you started the beginning of this program, you said that in India's interest, that is the introduction. So I think it's in India's interest. And I do want to make the point very clearly in this program that, I am a patriot, and I will say this till I'm blue in the face. And I believe that a journalist who looks at government and he starts looking at what went wrong is not the enemy of the state. I believe it's the responsibility of journalists and the responsibility of the governments to work together to figure out what happened. And yes, I'm happy to be alive. I'm even happier to meet young journalists like you who come to me and want to know how can we take this forward. And I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy to be in this situation today.
So tell me, Chitraji, why this book now? You have, of course, written before as well your journalistic expression of your days back in 87, 89. But why this book at this particular moment? And do you still feel that there hasn't been a closure? Do you feel that there is something massive that hasn't yet come out? Could you explain what?
So to answer your first question, why this book now? And it's not like the last book. The last book was just anyone could have written it. It's this happened, that happened, this happened, that happened. This is a very personal account. It talks about my personal life, what happened when I met my husband, Giancarlo, my cutting off my teeth as a mother, cutting off my teeth as an investigative reporter. There's no milk in the fridge. Good heavens, what am I doing? Documents are coming. I don't understand what on earth is a howitzer. All of that. And it tells the story of discovering my own strengths, my own weaknesses, my own fears. So it's a very personal account. It's a personal story, which I feel I was ready to tell. It takes time when you work on a story like this. It takes time for things to settle down. There's anger, there's frustration, there's happiness, there's joy, there's tears. But now I feel I could have written a book like this in a fair way. I want to leave a record for my children, my grandchildren, and my family, and for those who are interested. And I'm very happy to say that there's a lot of interest in the book.
You have recorded history, but as I asked earlier, what do you think that is still missing? What do you think is, perhaps you have written that there are things that are boxed, haven't been unboxed?
Well, Aditya, we still don't know who gave instructions for the cover-up. If you look at the entire sequence of cover-up from day one, it was very clear that someone was instructing the cover-up in Sweden, in India, and these are very solid instructions. Like I talk about the cover-up, can you imagine the Bofors team comes here saying, we'll give you the name. And the Prime Minister says, no, I don't want the name orally, can you give it to us in writing? Then there's that entire, what I call tuition, where you have the top bureaucrats of India sitting with the top officials of Bofors saying, you can't say this, you can't say that, please give this person a clean chit, give that person a clean chit. you're playing around with the security of my country. And it's my job description to find out. I mean, the Prime Minister's job description was to find a good gun, by the way, which it did. It was an excellent gun. And it did extremely well. The problem was the bribe. So India was shortchanged. We were shortchanged. You and I were shortchanged. And it was my job to find out why we were shortchanged. Who came in? Until today, we don't know the instructions. I mean, why would you fight for 10 years in a court in Geneva so that your name doesn't come out? Who are these people? We need to know, did the money trail go further? It did go further. More money was paid. I mean, we say 3%. It's not 3%. It's at least over 12%. And the arms dealer that tells me 18.5%. So at least we know, we need to know, and let's not be naive about this, Aditya. You're in this business. You know that all arms deals, there is a middleman. You can't conclude an arms deal today without a middle person. But at least get a good deal for yourself, no? Get a solid deal for your country.
But the CBI says that all the documents have been used as evidence and already shown and declassified. Do you agree?
No, I don't agree with that, because if all they have been shown to whom? They should be shown to us. And I know for a fact that at least in one case, more than 7 million has been paid into an account. 7 million is AE services. I know another 7 million has been paid. That means 14 million. So do we know about it? So if I can say for 1 million, one case, what about the others? Was there a distribution? Did they go further? I don't believe the CBI at all. In fact, I don't think that journalists should believe official versions. And I think the CBI may say what it has to say, but journalists need evidence to find out what's going on. Just taking the CBI version, for example, they said Amitabh Bachchan was involved. Let's not go there. I mean, to show the evidence. That is our job, right?
But since you asked Amitabh Bachchan, let me ask you that was Amitabh Bachchan's involvement somewhere there, or do you think he was a scapegoat?
Scapegoat. He was made a scapegoat. Amitabh Bachchan was not involved at all. But you needed somebody big and, somebody sort of oomph, to divert attention. And I was not involved at all. But what it did was muddy the waters, no? It muddied the waters of the investigation.
So was there a politician involved in getting Amitabh Bachchan? Would you want to name the politician?
No, I don't want to name any politician. I don't have the evidence. Again, coming back to, I can't join dots in two different pages.
But is that politician alive anymore?
Now look at this, you're pushing me. I'm not sure but then, I come back to more than the politician, that system is alive. See, Aditya, politicians come and go. It's the systems that we have to fight.
Okay, since you mentioned the system, I want to head back towards 87, between 87 and 89, and your reportage from the Hindu to the Indian Express and the Statesman. How did you land up this story? Who was your source really? Journalists are not supposed to ask the source, but I'm still attempting. Who was your source? How did you land up this story? Was it accidental, or there was from the very beginning something that made you go after this?
So, like all journalists, it was the Swedish radio story,
Yes.
which came out on by Swedish radio. Source, the way when I look back, Aditya, if you tell me go here, I'll go there. I'm like that. So I am somebody who goes all over the place. And I don't take, I speak about myself as, Giancarlo or my family says it's Chitresque. You tell her something, she'll be going somewhere else and she'll stare at you. So when the sources came, then I started making my own investigations. I started phoning people. And then I slowly got to, I had this arms dealer, Ka, who's called. And then he, of course, still not identified himself. I've spoken to him not too long ago. And then I ended up with a person that I called Sting, who then became Sten Lindström. He was the chief police officer, but he didn't make my life easy either. I had to go here, I had to go there. I had to prove myself at every step, earn my spurs. And some way it was irritating. It was rather irritating. But on the other hand, there's no shortcut. And every time I did not write a story, I felt that they trusted me more. But it was a cost. The cost was neglecting my family, neglecting my children. At that point, my son.
I want to also understand from you back then, 30, 35 years back, Were there editors who wanted credit for your story?
Yes.
Who were these editors and what was your experience like?
See, at that point, I was first working for the Hindu, Mr. N. Ram. And in the beginning, it was a good professional relationship. I mean, I did good work, and that good work was appreciated. But subsequently, I realized that I don't think he knew. I mean, I don't want to say this, but I was good. And then he wanted to take credit. He took all the credit for my work, which is a bit silly, because at the end of the day, it's and then worse than taking credit, Aditya, he was sitting on documents. And that is a terrible thing to do. I mean, when this AE services came with the Gandhi trustee lawyer, imagine finding a document that says Gandhi. That document was not published. The tuition, what I keep saying, the secret meeting between Bofors and all these officials, that was not published. A whole lot of documents which should have been published were not published.
Right.
So that was scary as to what are you playing. And then I got the sense that he became the story. And there was a thing that he was trying to figure out. There was an issue with his own, the Hindu. So he was using Bofors as some kind of a deal making with his newspaper, which is not journalism. Which is sort of influence peddling and, threatening the Prime Minister, saying that if you send me to Sweden in a business class ticket, I can get you more documents. I mean, what is that, Aditya? You should do your story and move on, right? Then came the issue of Mr. Arun Shourie in the Indian Express. I had moved to the Indian Express and the Statesman, and then he was defending Arun Nehru. I kept sending these faxes. And interestingly enough, that the part of the fax that kept falling off in the Indian Express was the one that I was saying Arun Nehru's role. But then the fax going to the Statesman, that part was not falling off. And Kanchan Gupta recently wrote about it, that, his fax was clean. So there I'm sitting and saying, bhai, ek ke paas fax ja raha hai, ek ke paas fax nahi ja raha. How many faxes can you send? So, things, playing games. Mr. Prabhu Chawla claiming that he got the documents about Mr. Solanki when I did. But that is all, it's petty. Today I can say it's pettiness, but at that time it hurt.
In 1989, the Rajiv Gandhi government fell, and the crucial reason was the Bofors scandal, your reportage, if I must say. But nothing beyond that happened. What should have happened, and who were the critical elements who did not let anything happen?
The same types of people who are now in power. Because I remember telling Mr. Lindstrom, we've a new government, they'll come to power. And he told me there are wheels within wheels. And this country is run by bureaucrats. So it is in nobody's interest to get to the truth, except our interest. Because it's our money. When you say nothing happened, I don't think nothing happened. I think a lot happened, including questions. You're interviewing me today. People want to know what happened. And, I think what is happening, Aditya, is now there is a community of journalists that is growing. With increased visibility of any country comes increased responsibility. And I think more and more journalists will be asking questions, not just about Bofors. They'll be asking a lot of questions about accountability, government issues, government procurements. And I suppose Bofors will be a case that will show them that if you really make up your mind, you can go. And that time I was alone. Today I don't feel alone at all. I feel very connected today.
One name that we have been hearing from the very beginning is this shadowy, mysterious figure of Kothroche. Who was Kothroche, and who was he really close to in New Delhi, and what happened, after the expose? Where did he disappear?
He is a friend of Sonia Gandhi, and he came into the deal in January 1986 behind that AE services, and he said that his company said that if you don't give me the deal, if I don't get you the deal, you don't have to pay me. So he got 7 million and then he disappeared. Can you imagine? He was allowed to escape, and then you live in Delhi. You know how there was an arrest warrant. You don't just escape through the airport. So then he went to Malaysia. There was red corner alert. And after Malaysia, he went to Argentina. Now, these things don't happen without some very top people allowing you to do so. So and then his account was unfrozen in London for less 48 hours and took the money out. But then more money has been paid into an account. There was more money paid. That's the point I'm trying to make. There are 7 million payments. So I don't believe that the CBI knows about the other 7 million. Which makes me, other people also know that there's more than, there's more money than just 3%. After all, you're not going to keep quiet with 3% when you've signed a deal for maybe 12 or 18%. Why would you keep quiet?
During that entire reportage period, did the Congress, anybody from the Congress or anybody from the Gandhi family or any mediator try to reach you?
I would say that there were no threats. Mediation, sort of, yeah.
What, they didn't want you to report, or they wanted their version to come out, or things to end amicably?
I think I was some kind of a curiosity in the beginning, and then they realized that I was unstoppable. Yeah, which is why when the Hindujas tell Mr. N. Ram, anybody but she should interview the Swedish. I mean, I was an unknown thing, which in the beginning was good for me because I didn't belong to anything. And I was perhaps scary or perhaps unknown, which is a good thing and a bad thing. But I never felt scared, threatened by the Congress party. No. And don't forget, Kumi Kapoor was keeping her eyes and ears open here for me. So, she made sure that everything was okay for me. So.
August, the Congress party, Rahul Gandhi, Ahmad Patel and many others went hammer and tongs on Augusta Westland. A massive uproar happened, protests happened. But why do you think to your book, there's a muted response from the Congress party? They haven't really reacted.
Because they know that they are guilty. I mean, don't forget that in this, the money washed around the Congress party. The money washed around Mr. Cesar, and Quattrochi. They know that they are guilty. And it's only, if they can't go hammer and tongs on Bofors because, as you said, the government fell, There's nothing to go hammer and tongs here other than just, hang and hammer your own head. They know they are guilty.
Apart from Rajiv Gandhi and Arun Nehru and Sonia Gandhi that you mentioned about and, their friends, Quattrochi, etc., are there any other critical elements who were responsible in the Indian political or bureaucratic establishment?
For the cover-up?
For the cover-up.
Yeah, there was the entire, I speak about N.N. Vohra, I speak about S.K. Bhatnagar, I speak about Gopi Arora, I speak about also afterwards the NDA government. Mr. Fernandes told me that it was Brajesh Mishra. So you see, that entire lot is involved in covering up.
But Brajesh Mishra much later became the NSA of Atal Bihari Vajpayee.
Yeah.
What was Brajesh Mishra's role?
What is Brajesh Mishra's role was that when I met George Fernandes, who was the Defence Minister, and the boxes had come to India already in 1991. So I met him in 1998 or something. Then he said he'd been told, 1997, sorry, the boxes came. He told me that he had been told by Brajesh Mishra not to open the box, not to touch Sonia Gandhi. So it was an admission of guilt, right?
So he was told as NSA not to open the boxes.
But he was told not to open the box. What more evidence do you want? That there is money here which is linked directly to the family. Today on something much less, you send people to court or you send people to prison, right? So I'm just saying, let's open it up. And now some people have gone to Washington or somewhere. Why don't you go and meet Sten Lindström? Can you imagine Aditya in all these years? Nobody has met him. What are you afraid to find out?
Today we have Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his third term. We have NSA Ajit Doval in his third term. They have been going all hammer and tongs against corruption. I can't say much about the state governments, but I can certainly say that Prime Minister himself alone as an individual cannot be questioned when it comes to corruption. He has tried to make that kind of an image of transparency. But as an investigative journalist, one of the critical players in exposing the Bofors scandal. What would you expect from Prime Minister Modi today and from NSA Ajit Doval?
See, it is not for me to say anything to them. They're very high officials. But I can say from my own journalistic level that we should have see, one thing I can say, that the Prime Minister is looking for increased visibility. And he has increased visibility. And with increased visibility will come increased scrutiny. And it will come on corruption as well. It doesn't have to be only Bofors corruption. It can be like on the Stampede, or it can be on other issues. So if you want to have a good image, and as you said, he is not personally corrupt, it's got to be across the board. You have to stop people who are trying to get you a bad name. Yeah, and I know for a fact that there are courtiers in any court. And I'm not saying it's only this Prime Minister. There'll always be courtiers pulling the blanket towards themselves. So there has to be some caution as to who is using the Prime Minister's name or allowing the name to be muddied. You have to be careful, because now you are becoming more and more visible. Everybody is looking at India. We are emerging so with increased visibility will come increased scrutiny, Aditya.
Okay, I want to just end this interview on this question, that as a journalist, watching India from abroad very closely, you've seen the Congress era, you've seen the Modi and the BJP era. What is the difference that you look at, especially when we look at corruption, especially when we look at the deep state involvement from outside into India to manipulate things?
As an Indian, I don't believe that a small money, like they're saying from Soros, this little thing or USAID and all that is going to manipulate us. I find it laughable. Mm-hmm. I find that third term Indians have voted. They know what they want. And as people can come and try to manipulate you. We're not going to get manipulated. I believe that we have emerged as a strong nation. I may have personal issues with the Prime Minister on certain issues, but that's between, that's an internal thing. I will not speak about it outside, because outside I think we are doing well. And what I like especially is that we have started to call the shots. We are no longer an addendum. And I really hope that we'll play India's strengths, our markets, to us, entirely to our needs. That's my wish. We are a major power. Everybody wants to come to us, deal, go ahead and deal in India's interests.
Well, certainly we hope so. And we really do hope that whatever is still hidden comes out one day. Well, this is the book that I'm holding in my hands, Boforsgate, A Journalist's Pursuit of Truth, Chitra Subramaniam. You must order this at a store near you or on Amazon, etc. Chitra Subramaniam, thank you very much.
Yes, may I just add one word?
Yes,
that increased confidence, I feel. There's an increased confidence today about being Indian.
Well, I can't agree more. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Aditya. Thank you.